Mag live from Eugene, Oregon. Chris Chavez, Mitch Dye, and we're joined now by our next guest, Allie Wilson, who just qualified for the Paris Olympics. I mean, me saying that, has that settled in yet?
No, it still hasn't. I have no idea when it's gonna hit me, but yeah, it's been the craziest last few days, and like I'm so happy, I'm so excited, but I don't think I've like really processed it yet. So, yeah.
January, I interviewed you at Dr. Sander, and at that point, like, you still had like a unsponsored kit. You talked about just sort of like taking this bet on yourself, leaving the situation that you had last year, following your coaches to Indianapolis, and then, you know, eventually you win, you know, U.S. indoors, sign a pro contract, head off to the World Championships, get that sort of experience. The bet on yourself has truly, truly paid off. What is kind of, now that we're at this point, could you imagine what you would have told Allie back in January about like how this was all going to go?
Oh my God, Chris, don't make me cry. Everyone already thinks I'm a big crybaby. I mean, even like thinking back to like this time last year, there was so much up in the air. Like, we already knew my coaches were going to be leaving, and we were all dealing with and processing like knowing we were going to have to be making that decision, and, you know, what was the best thing to do. And I think being that it was the year before the Olympic year, it was just like the decision could not have been harder. Like, I knew what I was going to be doing. I knew I was going with him, but I also just like didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know how I was going to be able to, like, you know, handle like moving, being in a different environment. Like, our team was about to change a lot. We didn't know who was going to be going. We didn't know where we were going. I just was like, I'm walking away from this like very like, you know, settled. Like, I had been in Atlanta for 4 years. So like, I really just like, things were just like, were very comfortable for me at that point. But I knew I was going to be doing it. And so like last year, like at USA's, I was trying my best to just like put that on the back burner, like put my racing first and put myself first, and just like do like still have the season I wanted. But I think like thinking back, and like it was like impossible. Like, I was trying so hard to not think about it and not worry about it, but it was like consuming me. And so then coming to like January, like I had made all those decisions already, so that part was over with. But yeah, I didn't have a contract anymore. I was living in a new city. Our team had gone from like a bunch of people to just us 3 girls. And so, yeah, it was a lot of big changes. And you know, now I was used to like having all my physio paid for and this and that and my travel. And now I'm like kind of like having to come up with all those expenses myself with no contract. And so it was a lot. Like, it was definitely tough, but I was talking to Bianca earlier on our run about how, like, I know I made the right decision, but I don't even think it was a matter of if I made the right or wrong decision, because either way, I was going to make it be the right decision. Yeah. I was going to force it to be the right decision. And I feel like that's what we've had to do. Like, there was just so, like, many question marks coming into this year, this Olympic trials, and I literally made it be the right decision, and I just believed in that so wholeheartedly, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible year, right?
Yeah.
Do you pinch yourself? Do you have like a vision board that you write down? You're like, these are all the things I want to achieve, and you slowly tick them off. Like, what's your process in setting goals and then achieving
manifesting
them?
Yeah. Well, Bianca, my mental coach, she has played a big part in that for me, because, you know, we all have these huge hopes and dreams, and we all want the same thing. So I just like, I think like I do try to take it like race to race, or even like day to day, like in practice, just do everything I can each day to like better myself. But yeah, I feel like looking at the big picture really stresses me out and freaks me out. And I'm like, if I think about it that way, I'm like, it's too much. I like have to break it down into little tiny chunks. And like, even coming into this meet, like, I knew how badly I wanted it, but I knew I didn't want it any more than everyone else did. Like, people can say what they want, but nobody wants it more than anyone else. Yeah. We all want it more than anything. It's like all of our dream to make the Olympic team, and that's like really feel like why we're doing it. And you know, it doesn't like, I really had come to terms with, though, if it didn't happen beforehand, because I was like, it is, at the end of the day, just another meet. And I cannot put my worth, like, on whether or not I make this team. So I had really come to terms with that.
Yeah.
And I think that helped me a lot. Because even, like, just being here, like, each round, I was like, it is just a race. Like, we put all this pressure on ourselves that it's so much more, and my life depends on it. It doesn't. Like, I knew that, like, you know, it might change my life a little bit in certain ways, and we'll get into that. But I'm like, I just, at the end of the day, was like, you know what to do. Just, you know, go out there and try your best. And we just kind of kept talking about, like, all you need is a chance. That was actually one of my captions of a picture going into the final. And I was like, after I didn't make the final last year, all right, let me take it back. So I kind of always felt, historically speaking, was kind of making it to the final every time. Last year was the first time I didn't make it to the final. And so I was like, I saw, like, previously I would get really worked up about the final. And I'd get to a point where I'd be like, do I like making the final? Like, it kind of sucks. Like, it's really scary. And then last year I didn't make it. And I was like, oh, this sucks worse. So I had kind of needed that moment, I think, to be like, all right, is it a lot of pressure and it's really scary and I'm racing, like, literally the best athletes in the entire country? Yes. But, like, if I don't make it to the final, I don't even have the chance to try to make the Olympic team. So I was like, I just really took it round by round, and I was like, all I want is a chance. Because really anything can happen, and that's kind of what ended up happening. And I just, I wanted the chance, and once I made it to the final, I was like, okay, I checked that off. Kind of hit panic mode. I was like, oh boy.
We're here now.
Here we are. I'm very familiar with this. But I was like, there's 9 women out there, and 3 of them make it now. And yeah, that's not a lot, and they're all incredible athletes out there, but I'm like, I could be one of those 3. Like, I felt like going into that race, there were so many different combinations of 3 women that were going to be making that team, and I don't think anybody was going to be able to predict it. And so I just kept telling myself, like, it might not be what you're expecting. Like, stop thinking like it's this person, and who else, or whatever. I was like, it could be any combination of those 9 women, like 3 of them. So I just wanted to be one of those.
Yeah. I remember when we did our podcast together during the indoor season that one of the, you know, cool things that I wanted to kind of pick your brain about was just, you know, the work that you've done with Bianca this past year. And one of the funny thing was, what was it that you were doing, the burning exercise in the hotel room?
Yes, the burn ceremony.
So the burn ceremony, was there anything here for the trials that you guys did together to mentally prep for, you know, it's such a high stakes environment?
Yes, I love that you asked that. So, of course, we had to bring back the burn ceremony.
Okay.
It worked for us indoors. We had to do one. But to be honest, like, even I think Bianca was surprised coming into this meet how calm I was. I feel like just all the work we have put in, because she's just like my mental coach, and like I'm with her all the time, and we've just been like planting those seeds of like, she just has a way with me of just like making me feel calmer and more confident, but like she knows how much is at stake, but like it doesn't, she lets, like, I'll tell her like, oh gosh, if I make the final, I'm gonna have to wake up and freak out, and she'll be like, but do you have to freak out? And I'm like, oh, that's a good point. I think I like make myself freak out. So like she just like has like these little things she's constantly challenging me with, to be like, okay, like, yeah, I understand there's a lot going on, but like you don't have to wake up and like freak out. Like I'm like, oh yeah. So yes, we brought the burn ceremony back, but like I feel like going into indoor nationals, there was so much doubt in like, I believed in myself, but like no, I didn't. And so there was so many things I was saying to her that she was like, no, it's all wrong, no. So she had me write down everything that I was thinking in my head. She said, because she never lets me say negative things. Sometimes there's circumstances where she lets me. Yeah. We have a safe word. But so she gave me a moment. She was like, write down every single thing that you're thinking that's negative. So I did that. Then she said, okay, you have like all these things going on in your brain. Now write the opposite on the other side of the paper. So I had to counter each thing that I wrote down.
Wow.
So if it was, I'm nervous, it becomes I'm excited, or I don't want to do this, I want to do this. So then we like ripped all those out, and then we burned the negative one as I said the positive one out loud. So I never said the negative ones out loud. And so I was just like, it was just like really like freeing to like get rid of those bad negative thoughts. And so here, because I was more calm for whatever reason, we honestly don't know, I was like, I honestly am not having that many negative thoughts. Like there's a lot of questions in my brain, and you know, I have no idea what is going to happen, but it's not necessarily negative. And I think that's all like the work we have put in up until this point, why I was feeling that way. And so we did do a burn ceremony after the prelim.
I don't know how you don't set off alarms in your hotel room.
We have a very safe way that we do it. But yeah, we did one, but I was kind of like, I feel like I'm kind of forcing these negative thoughts. Like they're not necessarily what are like flooding my brain right now. But it still is just very like, kind of like nice to just, you know, get rid of some of the negativity. And we really just tried to focus on all the positives. Like the morning of the final, we woke up and I was not as calm. And I was like saying some things to her. I was like, and she was like, "You're excited. This is fun." And she would make me say it. And I was maybe like kicking my feet up a little bit. I didn't want to say it sometimes, but she was making me say it out loud. Like, this is fun. I'm having fun. I want to be here. I want to do this. And at the end of the day, it just came down to, I want a shot. And I just kept reminding myself, like, I just want a shot. And yeah, being in that final on that day, I was giving myself a shot, and that's all I had wanted.
Wow, that is really, that's beautiful. I mean, it's a massive shout out to you, Bianca, and to you as well, to be willing to do the work. I think you can put the structure in place, but without you being vulnerable to do it, it doesn't go too far.
Yeah.
I guess something I take from that is the level of importance you put on your mental well-being and your mental capacity is equal to, if not more than, your physical capacity. So talk to me about what that's been like, transitioning into putting such a high level of focus and dedication onto that, and the benefits it's clearly had on your career.
So I've been with my coach, Andrew Begley, since I moved to Atlanta, I think for 5 years, 5 years ago. And I trust nobody more on earth than I trust him with like what I'm doing on the track day in and day out. I think he knows me better than anybody in that aspect. But there was like, we were hitting a point where it was like, I was always in it. Like, at the last trials, I was 6th, and like that was my first year breaking too. I was very new to like, I didn't even know if I was going to be going to the trials, and like we really like got like, I was like pretty happy with how that had went, even though like you're obviously disappointed. But so yeah, I got 6th, and then the next year I came back for the just USAs, and I got 4th. So we were like making those improvements, and then but we hit a point where I just was like, I knew deep down like I wanted it so bad, but I never actually thought I was going to be doing the things I wanted. And that really stressed me out, because I was like, I want it as badly as everyone else, but I don't think I'm going to have that. And I didn't know why I felt that way, but I feel like I dealt with a lot of self-doubt, a lot of confidence issues. I was always putting other people above me on this pedestal. And like, yeah, I feel like Bianca came into my life just by chance, honestly. My coach used to coach her, and she had moved to Atlanta, and we were like just hanging out as like friends, because she was friendly with my roommate and my old teammate Yolanda. And so we were just hanging out a lot, and eventually it was like I hit a point where I was like, should I be paying you for like when we get coffee together? Because it's pretty much a therapy session. And I always thought that like mental work was like so phony. Like I was like, there's no way, like I'm never doing that. Like I don't know why I was like so anti, but I think I just was like, I just didn't think it would make a difference. And I never thought it'd be as important as what I was doing. Like if I'm working so hard every single day, that's all you need to do. But every time I was with Bianca, I was like, I feel so much better. And so, yeah, like having her, that was in 2022. I had like a pretty breakthrough year that year. That was when I got 4th. I was just clicking off my 158s, and I was like really in a good spot. And then she actually moved back to Portland, and then we don't know what actually happened last year, but last year was just a tough year for so many different reasons. But we knew like how much of a difference Bianca made with me mentally. And I kind of knew like I need Andrew for like the day-to-day stuff and to be writing my workouts and to, just tell me what to do like physically. But I need Bianca to help me get to that next level upstairs. And I knew that was like I like realized that there was just something that I was missing, and she was changing that for me. And so she took a chance this year, just as big of a chance as I did, and packed her stuff up, drove across the country, moved to Indianapolis because like she knew how badly I wanted to make this Olympic team, and I needed her there if I wanted to do that. And like I don't even have words for like how much that means to me that she was willing to do that, because I think me and her and my coach, like we all knew that we were going to be like the combination to make it happen if it was going to happen. And so the fact that it all has paid off, like, I think I believe in meant to work.
You're converted now.
Team, mental, everything.
I can't believe like we've made it this far without even talking about the actual sort of final and like just how chaotic it was. Have you gone back and watched it?
So funny you ask. I literally just watched it like downstairs before I came up here, because I was I haven't watched the race yet. And normally like I immediately, after a race, I want to watch it immediately if I do well. If I don't, I never want to see it again. Like, everyone will be like, oh, you can learn from it. I'm like, no, I don't want to see it. Like, it will make me sad. I already had to live it. That was good enough. So I hadn't watched it until like 20 minutes ago, maybe. And so,
I mean, I have it pulled up in front of us. We can't show the viewers because we don't have the rights to it. But I do want to kind of just like watch it with you and just you take us through sort of, how this whole thing played out. From the get-go, I think one thing we were trying to figure out, among ourselves is like, how'd you end up in lane 1?
So my high school coach called me yesterday and asked me that, and I don't know enough. Like, I feel like I'm very oblivious to what's going on all the time. So I didn't realize I was like...
Won your semi.
Yeah, you won the semi. You ran fast. I don't know how you ended up in lane 1.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I like lane 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you were happy when you saw it?
I'm happy. Yes. So it is strange. I think it's because I want to know where everyone else is. And I need to work on my start because I'm like very slow off the line. And basically I just want to know where everyone is. And then I think that helps me get out a little faster because I'm just being pulled along. I'm seeing how everyone else is getting out. But like the day before I was in lane 9 and I had no idea. I was like, am I running fast? Am I running slow? Are they catching me? Are they not? So I liked lane 1 for me. But yeah, I guess that was weird.
All right, so we have started watching the race. We're about 19 seconds in, and then of course, sort of, we come up to the 200-meter mark, and this is where kind of chaos strikes, and a thing takes a fall.
Yeah.
I mean, we've kind of unpacked this before, where it looked like she maybe clipped Raven's knee in the back, and like there wasn't really a thing. Was just trying to cut in, and she's done this before.
Yeah.
Just kind of. Finally just hits the ground. Juliet has to juke over to the left. Sage jumps up and then like takes a step on the inside. You and Christy Schofield kind of make it out a little bit unscathed from this whole thing, but like you do kind of peek over as to like what just happened.
So now that I'm seeing this, okay. First of all, we have no idea what's going on, but I didn't even realize Juliet was in front of me and that she hurdled. Thing.
Yeah, she did a great job.
That was crazy.
Yeah, so if we rewatch it back, like Juliet kind of gets pushed a little bit and jumps a little bit.
It didn't affect me, luckily. But
you were aware though?
I was aware. Like obviously when you're running and you like hear the like marks of like the spikes like hitting weird, and then like people like you hear someone fall and everyone like goes like. So I knew something had happened. I didn't know what or who, but I mean, it's heartbreaking, obviously. You never want that for anybody, but I just had to keep running. Like, for a second, I was like, I don't know what just happened, but are they going to start the race over?
Yeah.
But I knew we're too far, but I was like, are they going to call us back? Obviously, that didn't happen. And so I just kind of was like, I just had no choice but to keep running and do everything I was still trying to do.
Yeah.
And then kind of the field goes through 57.79 for the first 400 meters. Michaela Rose moves her way all the way up to the front. It's kind of that fall disrupted things because we were so used to seeing Michaela just go out immediately from the gun. Is that sort of like what you were mentally prepping for?
I did think that just because of how she's ran, I mean, every race I've ever watched of hers, she's taken it out hot. And then each round here, she was doing that. So I was kind of expecting that, yeah. I didn't know, but yeah. I didn't want to like prepare too much for anything, but that's kind of what we thought might happen.
Yeah. So then at this point, after the bell, we're about 500 meters into the race. That's when sort of like a move starts to happen where it's not just Michaela going for it. Then it looks like that was Nia pushing from the front. And with about 250 meters to go, what was sort of your thought process here? Because you're looking ahead. There's 3 women ahead of you. Only you don't want to be 4.
So this race actually was the craziest thing of my life because I was so calm. And I'm never calm when I'm racing. Like I felt like I just knew I was going to get the top 3. I didn't know how or when or what or who, but I was just like, I'm just going to keep running and I'm going to pass somebody at some point and I'm going to get top 3. Like I felt like a robot. I was just like, get top 3.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, with 100 meters to go, you still have to make a pass on somebody.
Yeah.
And then with like
I felt pretty confidently. Oh, can I pause it?
Yeah.
I felt pretty confidently that with my strength, I always know the more races I think the better. Like even if we had done 3 in a row, I think that would bode better for me than some of the other women because like I mean some of us are all strength-based runners, but a couple of people aren't. So it's like I know that like I can run each round hard and my body like can kind of handle that. So in these kinds of moments, like I know that I will be fine, like pushing kind of as hard as I need to through the rounds, and that in the final I'll still have something. Yeah. So I kind of was just like relying on that and being like, it's coming. I will have it at the end.
Nia far ahead, so that's one spot that looks at this point with 50 meters to go secure. You're about to pass Michaela, who's fading.
Yeah.
And then it's going to just be a battle with you and Juliet all the way to the finish line.
Yeah.
At this point, like, once you made the pass on Michaela, do you think, like, all right, this...
So I did kind of know, but you're obviously, like, a little bit, like, but are people, like, flying?
Yes.
Like, are they, like, hawking me down right now? So I feel like people will, like, look around, they'll like start celebrating. I have never been that way. I'm always like, until my body is like so far over that line, I'm gonna keep running as fast as I need to.
Even if it takes a face plant.
Yeah, even if it takes a face plant, just because I'm not willing to risk it. But yeah, I felt pretty confidently that I was pretty secured those last couple meters.
All right, so then, you know, we're watching as like a thing does sort of cross the finish line, but the cameras, if they focus on you, and maybe they do show it sort of a little bit on the replay here, just pure shock looking up at the results and at the scoreboard. What was sort of like the emotion pouring out of you? Because like you, I mean, like here you are embracing Nia, but like it's like even the look on your face is like, this is shocking.
I feel like I don't even know what was going through my head. I don't think I actually was processing it, but this is the moment I have always dreamed of having, and I did not think I was ever going to have it. So to have it, I was just like, what is going on? Like I was pure joy, but like even like a lot of times I'll be like so focused on like what time we're running, whatever. I had no idea that we even like ran. Like I was happy with my time, but I had no idea we even ran fast. I thought we were just like running to a place, like whatever. So to see that like I ran well, like I finally had ran a time I was proud of again. I was just like, what's happening? Like, it just felt like everything did come together in like the perfect moment for me.
Your mind was blown.
Yeah, I didn't know where to look. I was like, I don't know anybody. What am I doing?
Wow.
And like Nia, like to make the team with her meant a lot because we have been duking it out since college when she was at Penn and I was at Monmouth. Like, I feel like we have just year after year after year been like, honestly bringing out the best in each other, but like in a pretty, like, we were at one point we were definitely more rivals than anything, but over the past like year or so I feel like her and I have really just like, we have so much respect for each other.
What are you saying there when it's the three of you just sort of like, do you even remember?
I think I said probably I don't know.
Yeah.
I know the first thing I said to her was, we're Olympians. I couldn't even believe those words came out of my mouth, but she's obviously been on a tear this past year. And so I've like looked up to her so much and like I've just been wanting to be doing it out there with her. I'm like, she's clearly figured something out and I want to be doing that too.
Yeah.
So it meant a lot to make it with her. And Juliet, like, she's just a 10 out of 10 girl on and off the track. Like, she was one of the people I was most worried about, honestly, after seeing how her whole like last year went collegiately. Or is she still in college? No.
She's just finished?
She's still in college.
Oh, she is. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But just seeing like, I feel like she's just been consistently like sub 2, and like that consistency is scary, especially because I've been kind of consistently too flat. So it's like, yeah, I was like a little bit worried. Like I didn't know what she was going to be capable of in that day, but like to make it with them too, it was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, the embrace with you and Nia, like right at the finish line, also such a beautiful moment. So take us through, I guess, like, you know, since this, you step off the track, you go through drug testing, like what was the celebration like that night?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wait, I have one more thing to say about the Nia stuff.
Absolutely.
So after, obviously she had like such an amazing year last year. And then after indoor nationals, like I kind of knew, like, I had a feeling it would probably be either, I mean, it was like Addie, Nia, like, I mean, it could have been anybody, but like, if I kind of was like, I really want to make this team, but I kept telling, well, we talked about it, how I thought it was going to be Nia and Addie making that team, and then it ended up being me and Addie, and I was like, part of me, I mean, it was amazing, but I did think like, oh, like that would have been really cool to go with Nia because of like everything we've been through, whatever. And I was heartbroken for her because after her year last year, but I kind of was like, yeah, I felt like we needed to make a team together, and like, so to make this one with her, I was just like, it was really cool. And she was the first person after I won indoors to come up and congratulate me, and I've like never felt more of a genuine like, I'm so happy for you. And for somebody who just didn't make the team, like that means a lot because it's hard. Like when you want something and somebody else gets it, and that just meant so much to me. And I just like, yeah. So to have that moment together now was really cool.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's sort of the beauty of just sort of the sport, and it's like we can look at, you know, the past decade and how, you know, dominant Ajay and Raven and a thing have been just sort of locking down those three spots. Like, you know, for the last couple of years, I've, you know, called them like the big three. And then for none of them to make this team, like it is just, you know, a testament to the depth in the United States that like we look at the team that we're sending, and like, you know, track and field fans here in America should be 100% proud because like it's a really strong team that is going together. And, you know, the expectations are always just sort of like, you know, let's try and bring back a medal or whatever it might be. And like you're just as motivated to make those goals come true.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's like a different, the 800 is just, obviously there's so much depth. And like, I think the last Olympics, it was almost like people were saying like things like, why are we even running it? We already know who's making it. And like, that kind of stuff is hard because it's like, we're all out here putting our hearts on the line, but it was hard not to like sort of feel that way too because of how long all like the three of them have been like just so like dominating. And yeah, so for this one to just like be a little more shaken up, like obviously it was devastating what happened in that race, but just like, oh, like, yeah, even like Ajay, Raven, like they have done so much for this event in the U.S. like these past couple years that like, yeah, it is crazy that to see that none like none of them did make it. But they all have been like so amazing about it. And just like, yeah, I think that we've always known, like, if you like navigating these rounds at this meet for this country is no joke.
Yeah.
And like, I think a lot of people, like, after the final or whatever, like, they like get it, but I'm like, they also don't. Like, it is mentally, physically so taxing, so draining. You are having to, like, we're putting every second of every day, like, well, we do it through 365 days of the year, but like over those 4 days, like, you eat, sleep, and breathe, like, getting to that final and making that team. And it's just like, you're waking up, you're doing whatever you can then to like run your best that day and make it through the rounds. And the emotions of just like, you have to warm up and go in like the paddock area under the bleachers. And it's like, it's a lot. It's a lot of emotions. It's a lot of stress, pressure. And I feel like, yeah, I was very proud of how I handled the rounds this year, and the emotions of it all. And I think that was why, like, yeah, I knew, I do believe regardless of what happened on that day, I was going to come in the top 3 anyway. And I'm excited to like go to Olympics and like prove that and show that I belong there too. And like, and so do the girls who made it along with me.
All right, so how'd you celebrate?
Okay. So obviously we're all excited, did our victory laps, whatever, signed a bunch of stuff. I literally
Is that where you got this?
I was gonna say.
Yeah, someone gave me this. It's
Same
so
thing.
cool.
Shari Hawkins, yeah, got one from a fan too.
I love this. And last year I literally didn't make the final, and I wanted to make bracelets. Going into USA's, I wanted to make bracelets. So then after I didn't make it, Bianca had like gotten me this whole kit with beads and stuff, and we made like all these like mantra bracelets.
Cute.
And one of the ones that I made, which was my mantra last year, and I didn't follow through with it, was run your race. And I did not run my race last year, and it showed. And this year I definitely ran my race each round, and it paid off. But yeah, so somebody gave me this. I was literally holding people's babies. They were passing me over their babies onto the track. I'm like, thank you.
Someone did send me a screenshot of your interview in the mix zone, and you're holding like 20 different things. And I was like, this looks like one of those interviews where they just keep handing someone something. And it's like, you were just taking anything people gave you.
Yeah, there was a lot. I lost all of my stuff. I was like, I didn't have shoes for a while. Like, there was a lot going on. But yeah, we did the award ceremony. That was really great. And then, yeah, that night we didn't celebrate too hard because obviously there's still a lot of work I have to put in. But we went to the Wild Duck, had some champagne, and then we called it a night probably around like 12:31. And then I was up the whole night. I did not sleep awake. So then I was just like, all right, like I kept trying. I was like putting in a real good effort to try to sleep. I couldn't. Like, it was impossible. So I was like, whatever. Pulled an all-nighter. Then wake up yesterday.
Just reading messages and stuff?
Yeah. And I tried to stop because I know like looking at your phone doesn't help. But like there was just like a lot going on. So I just could not calm down for the life of me. I was like, okay. So what did I do first thing yesterday morning? Was that the first thing we did?
Team processing?
I thought we did something before that. I forget. But yeah, we went to team processing at like 11:30. That took 3.5 hours. And so then like
You're
I'm like
I
am literally a zombie, and I'm like, oh gosh, like I really need to sleep. But then at that point, we're like, it's getting late. Like I literally just have to push through until tonight.
Yeah.
So I was awake for like so long because I also only slept 4 hours before the final.
Oh my God.
Because I couldn't sleep after the semifinal. So I was running on like nothing. And then last night I slept 11 hours. So
Oh, there we go.
yeah, that felt good.
better. Yeah. That
I
feels
feel
better.
more like a human today. So yeah.
I guess, Allie, my final question is like, what are you looking forward to the most in Paris? Because it's sort of like, are there plans to be there for opening ceremonies, take everything in? Are there other sports you want to watch? Obviously, you know, the job is compete, but it's also a party.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's so much I'm excited for. I actually like refused to think about it until it was all over, because I was like, if I get to work, like I want so much, like because of all different reasons, to like all the things I can do there and see and whatever. And I wanted it so bad. And I was like, I feel like on one hand, it's like that could be really motivating. Like I really want to do this, so maybe I'll think about that. But I was like, I will be heartbroken if I don't get to do all of that, so I just didn't think about it, and now I'm like, my brain's just like spinning of all the things I want to do. Like, I am so excited to watch like all the other sports, gymnastics, soccer, everything, and I mean, just like even being in the Olympic Village, I'm definitely going to do the opening ceremonies. I got fitted yesterday for the outfit. That was really cool. I just feel like there's like so much that probably a lot of people don't even know that like you get to experience in there. And so I just can't wait to like soak it all in. I think too, the 800's like the first couple of days. So I think that'll be great. Kind of like here, like I will do everything I can in those races, and then I'll be there the whole time, so I can just like enjoy it after that. And I feel like that's like, I'm just so excited. Yeah.
100%. Can I go one more?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just I feel like, you know, a foreigner, but as I walk through here, women in sports in this country is really booming. Right, there's so much more attention on it. It's so much more outspoken now. Like the women that walked before you now find yourself in a position to be a role model. Like, you're someone that young women now in this sport are going to look to and really admire. Carrying that weight and having that expectation and being able to do that for young women. Is that really important to you? Is that a significant thing that comes with this?
It's so important to me, and honestly, I didn't even realize it until right now. I feel like sometimes, like, I'm just me. Like, I'm literally just whatever. I've always just been me, and I'm still just me. But like, I don't even think about things like that because I just like am myself, and I'm like whatever. And like, to think about that now, I can like impact like little girls, little runners, whoever it is, and how they like view themselves or like what they believe is possible for themselves is like so special and such an honor, because like just like thinking of all the women in sports who've come before us and like that I've always adored, looked up to, and like I did look at them as something like else, and I'm like, oh, like I think I admired them so much, I was like, that's never gonna be me. So I just like, it was like so far-fetched that I was just like, that's so cool that they get to do that. I probably won't get to do that. So to like be able to like be a role model to little girls and in sports is like, it makes me feel really happy, warms my heart, and I hope I put on a good what's the word?
Showing?
Performance?
But like, I forget. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I hope like they can look at me and really like want to be like me one day, because that would make me feel cool.
Because Allie, like, it's just so wild to me to think about this professional journey for you. Started with you in a boot or on crutches, I think it was, and you know, Coach Andrew sees you and says like, you know, we're gonna take a chance on this athlete, and look at this now.
He sure took a chance. I feel like one thing about me that I was thinking about earlier on my run, and my coach has said it in the past couple of days, but I just feel like I'm the type of person that like, I haven't been given much. Like, I went to a tiny college school like that had, I mean, I was very supported, but like in terms of like what other people were getting, very little support, very little resources compared to other schools, and you know, I wasn't heavily recruited, and I don't know, I just feel like even just this past year, like I was like unsponsored for a while, and I know a lot of people do that, like I'm not the only person who has to deal with stuff like that, but it's like I just feel like there are like some people who do like kind of have it all, and like they have earned that, like they have these big contracts out of school or out of high school or whatever it is, and you know, they still have to work so hard, but they have a lot more resources at hand to help them get better and help them stay at that level. And I just feel like I have just clawed my way in there, like, and just to like give myself a chance with or without all of that, and I've just been so supported by the people in my life that's really all I needed, and here we are.
And I'm excited for this next chapter and, you know, the stop in Paris. So, Allie, best of luck in training over the next couple of weeks. Don't let this, you know, just this high really come crashing down. Like, you got to keep riding it all the way through France. And so we're looking forward to cheering you on in Paris.
Thank you. I will be riding it. See you there.